89-year-old gets thrown out into street. Neighbor slips something in hand before she leaves. Angie Tima lived in her Hudson, Florida home for 35 years. Then things took a sudden dark change. The 89-year-old was evicted from her house without warning. With nowhere else to stay, Angie was forced onto the streets and eventually landed at a Days Inn motel until she could figure out a more permanent living situation. Little did she know, her neighbors were in the middle of doing something amazing. Years ago, Angie decided she didn't want to fuss around with mortgage payments, utilities, and the other complications that come with owning a home. So she found a buyer who agreed to let her rent the home from them for a monthly lump sum and sold it to them happily. Unbeknownst to Angie, the owner who lived in Europe stopped using Angie's money to pay the mortgage and the home went into foreclosure. Angie told Today that the lack of payments to the bank was news to her. They threw me out. I couldn't believe it. Due to her big personality, Angie became a staple member of the community over the past 3 decades. Her neighbor Danielle Calder spoke to Today about how important she was to the entire neighborhood. Everybody knows Angie. She has 2 little dogs that she walks. She's an elderly woman, but she's pretty feisty, and she has lots of energy. The moment Danielle heard of Angie's eviction, she started thinking about how to make things right. Danielle spoke to the bank and agreed to purchase the home for a whopping $167,500. But the home wasn't for her to live in. As she explained to Today, it was all for her elderly neighbor. Quite honestly, I didn't need another house, but I needed her. I could not see her living in a motel room. She's been here so long, everyone looks out for her. It was the right thing to do. We are a family, the whole neighborhood. 3 weeks after moving into the hotel, on Angie's birthday, Danielle welcomed her back into the house. Although Angie pays a small monthly sum to her neighbor for rent, she says that Danielle's sweet offer was the miracle she had been praying for. Danielle knows we need to take care of the elderly, not boot them out on the street or rip them off financially. Thankfully, there are still selfless people like her in the world.